Hello and welcome back to the third part or third episode in the Witch on the Holy Night playthrough. In the last episode we have seen the school life Sojuro has been living with those past 10 days and had an exchange with his friend, if you can call it that, Tobimaru. And, well, he wanted to tell him about the last night, something odd that happened. But, well, I guess we are about to find out, or we have switched the perspective again to Aoko? No. Some other girl, I think. I don't know. Anyway, without further ado, let's continue our journey. Suzuki, you in here? It was 10 or 12 around lunchtime. It was quickly coming to an end. Her face popped into Class C, as lively as ever. As if it were an everyday occurrence. Aoko Aozaki announced her presence. While Aoko was part of the Class C, she didn't let it bother her as she casually entered the classroom. In contrast, the baby birds who had been so noisily chirping while eating lunch quickly quieted and began to rearrange their seats.
どういう意味よ、それ。
Are they trying to tell me something? She bristled internally before looking around the room. She could not see the male students she had come here to find. Male student. He hardly stood out, so she thought he might be hidden in the corner or somewhere, but that appeared to be not the case.
有里くん、出席番号12番のしずきくんは？
Arisato, do you have any idea where Suzuki from the seat 12 is? Aoko kept her tone professional.
俺？しずきならさっき飛丸殿下が連れて行ったよ。
Oh, wait, me? Suzuki left with His Highness Tobimaru a while ago. The boy was shocked that she actually knew his name. One might think that the reason students referred to Tobimaru Suzuki by a royal title was because he was the chairman's son, but it was because he actually acted like royalty. In fact, the vice president was said to have taken a liking to the title.
飛丸が？あいつしずきくんと仲いいの？
He's with Tobimaru? Are those two friends or something? She seemed surprised. The class seemed surprised at her surprise.
いいも悪いも築地くんが男子と仲良く話してるのって今まで見たことなかったよ、私たち。
No idea, but we've never seen Tsukiji be that friendly with another boy before.
あ、木の実くんはバカだから別だけど。
Well, maybe Kinomi, but he's an idiot, so that hardly counts.
そうだよな。初めは殿下もあんまり話してなかったけど、3日もしたら楽しそうに口喧嘩してたもんな。
Yeah, His Highness was slow to warm to him, but since the third day, it's been nothing but friendly arguments.
ま、しずき相手に突っ張っても仕方ないじゃん。あいつ変だけどいいやつだし。
Well, you can't really help but like Suzuki. Maybe a little odd, but he's good people.
そうよね。いい人だもんね、宗十郎くん。
Totally. Sojuro is really nice. Having recomposed himself, Class C started chatting again. Aoko listened for a bit, before turning around and leaving the class with a later. All the Sojuro talk finished as quickly as it had started. Lunchtime was coming to a close in the student council room. Sojuro, having told his story, was smiling in satisfaction. Tobimaru, still sitting across from him, was frowning.
さあ、感想を聞かせてくれ。
Wait, we don't get to hear it? Oh, I'm curious. So, what do you think? Sojuro told his yawn as best as he could. Tobimaru fingered his brow as if he was angry or concerned.
なあ、その字。お前、人をバカにできるほど器用なやつじゃねえよな。
Sonoji, are you trying to make fun of me? A word of advice, Leaf. But to us smart people, hmm?
失礼な。器用な方だぞ、俺は。
Take it back. I'm more clever than you think. His response only confirmed Tobimaru's suspicions. It had to be one of two possible conclusions. That what Sojuro had just told him was true. Or that Sojuro was so tired that he must have been hallucinating at the time. Tobimaru sincerely hoped it was the latter.
宗十郎、率直に言って、俺はお前が気に入っている。
To be honest, Sojuro, you're growing on me.
嘘のない人間なんてのは人間じゃねえ。
Anybody that never lies can't really be considered human.
俺は人間嫌いだから、そんなお前さんが気に入ってたりするんだが、そんなやつまで馬鹿げたことを言い出したら、俺は明日から何を頼りに昼飯を食えばいいんだ？
So, for a misanthrope like me, I suppose you could say it's easy to like you, but if you're gonna stick to your dumb story, I'm not sure what I'm going to do for lunch starting tomorrow.
学食で食べればいいんじゃないか？
Why not just eat in the cafeteria? Hearing his suggestion, Tobimaru's face darkened.
わかった。はっきり言おう。それは幻覚だ。
Okay, I'll spell it out for you. You were hallucinating.
幽霊の正体見たり枯れ尾花ってやつだろうさ。それでも納得いかないってんなら、いい精神科を紹介してやる。
If you still insist you saw a ghost, I'd be more than happy to introduce you to a good psychiatrist.
それが君の感想か。よし。ならいいんだ。
So that's your take on it. Good to know. As bitter as Tobimaru's words might have sounded to most, Sojuro swallowed them whole.
そりゃ俺だって神隠しの類だと思ったよ。
I already figured that as much. It sounds like a tall tale to me too.
けど、都会じゃもしかしてそれもありなのかもしれないだろ。確かめたかったのはそこなんだ。
I was starting to wonder if it was normal for that kind of thing to go on in a city, so I wanted to hear your opinion. Oops. Satisfied, Sojuro finished off his last rice bowl and neatly folded the cloth.
おい、すると何か？
Hey, hold on a second.
お前は都会の人間は口から火を吹いたり、腕が伸びたりするのが普通だと思ったのか？
Huh? You didn't actually think it was normal for people in the city to breathe fire or extend their arms like they're made of rubber, did you?
まあ普通じゃないけど、特別でもないんじゃないかと思ったんだ。
Well, not normal as much as within the realm of possibility.
ここは山にないものが溢れている何でもありの場所だ。だからそれぐらいやってのける人だってもしかしているのかなと。
The city is full of extraordinary things we don't have up in the mountains. I thought it might have some extraordinary people as well. But his face was as serious as it was made. Tobimaru realized just how big a culture shock Sojuro must have been experiencing. Living up in the mountains with no electricity, in a place where the night sky was as it always had been, where humans were just one more organism in nature's garden. It makes sense that those conditions would create a boy like him. The idea of children growing up so pure wasn't an appealing one, But maybe it was natural to forgo civilization when your population was so small. Or perhaps it was so simple a world that excessive knowledge was deemed irrelevant. It was precisely because city life offered him so much that was impossible up until now, that he had come to that conclusion that anything was possible here.
安心しろ。確かにこっちにはタチの悪い奴らばっかりだけどな。そんな魔法使いみたいな奴はいねえよ。
Relax. The city might have its share of shady guys. None of them are magicians in disguise.
そうだといいんだけど。
I hope you're right. But Sojuro seemed unsure. And on Tobimaru's part, there were things that Sojuro's story that he found hard to swallow. Whether true or not, the incident Sojuro had described was disturbing.
まあ、事の真偽というか、どんな間違いでそう見えたかは置いておいてだ。
For the time being, let's assume what you say actually happened.
結果だけ見れば、うちの生徒が夜の公園で人を殺したってことになる。しかも双方控えめに表現しても普通じゃねえ。
It would ultimately mean that one of our school students killed someone in the park last night, and that neither of the parties involved were normal. As a newcomer to town, Sojuro assumed that everyone in his age was a student at the school. For better or worse, he was right.
一人は火炎放射器を持って、もう一人は、まあなんだ、なぎなたでも持ち出したのか、刃物らしきものが何メートルも伸びたときた。
One of them was equipped with a flamethrower, while the other had a nagita, or at least a bladed weapon resembling one that was a good few feet in length. Sojuro rubbed his head, and down as he listened to the disbelief in Tobimaru's voice, hearing it repeated by someone else, he could see how someone might think it was taking him for a ride.
正気を疑うな。尋常じゃないぞ、その話。
Look, I'm not crazy. It really did happen, like I said.
宗十郎、お前、実は俺をからかってんだろ。
Give it to me straight, Sojuro. You're pulling my leg, aren't you?
いや、全く。
No, I'm not.
けどまあ、都会にはそんな人間はいないんだろ。
But I get it. There's no one in the city who can do that, right?
なら飛び丸の言う通り、夢でも見てたんだ。ここのところアルバイトと試験が重なって辛くて。
If not, I was probably just hallucinating. Like you said, working part-time while studying for exams has been pretty tiring. Winter break was just around the corner, and the end of term exams were but a week away. Both were proving formidable opponents for Sojuro.
俺は基本ができてないから、人の倍程度の勉強じゃ追いつけない。ほら、勉強ばかりしているとノイローゼをするんだろ。
I don't even know the basics, so I need to study twice as hard as everyone else. I mean, anyone would start to lose it if they did nothing but study, right?
そりゃするんじゃなくてなるものだが、まあ、何にせよ、やりすぎ飲みすぎは良くねえわな。試験前ぐらいはバイト減らしたらどうだ？
I wouldn't say you're losing it, but you're definitely pushing yourself too hard. Maybe cut back on work a bit until the exams are over.
減らしてはいるんだけどね。年末ってアルバイトを休む人も多くて、その代行も頼まれがちだし。
I've tried to cut back, but a lot of people take off the time at the end of the year, so they often ask me to fill in for their shifts. He shrugged helplessly. It was obvious for him from his words that he had been busy. Even if he was not going crazy lack of sleep could have caused him to daydream, even if it all did go down in the middle of the night.
なんだか大変そうだな、宗十郎。
Sounds tough, Sojuro.
ああ、実はかなり参ってる。都会の暮らしは深刻だ。
Yeah, city life has been exhausting. Sojuro nodded with a pained look on his face. What was strange, however, was that he did not look at least a bit tired.
泣き言言わねえのは感心するけどな。お前、新郎は顔に出ないたちか？
I'm impressed you never complain about it. You always look like nothing bothers you at all.
そりゃ、新郎はどこも痛まないからね。
That's just because it isn't bad enough to bother me. As he answered, Sojuro looked up at the clock on the wall. Lunchtime was almost over.
飛び丸、時間だ。
Tobimaru, the time.
ああ、もうそんなに経ったか。気にせず先に行ってていいぜ。俺はまだ用があるからよ。
Really? Is it that late already? You can go on ahead, I still have things to do. Sojuro watched as Tobimaru made a gesture that seemed to lament the life of a student council member. His eyes looked as if they were looking at a piece of art and not understanding its value.
授業をサボれる身分っていうのは羨ましいな。
I'm jealous that you can just skip class whenever you want.
そういうの、飛び丸が嫌いな手抜きじゃないのか？
I would have thought you were a stickler for the rules.
そりゃ誤解も甚だしい。俺の欠席は手抜きじゃねえ。特権ってやつだと言ったろ。
How many times do I have to tell you? It's not skipping when I've got special permission. The vice president angrily defended himself as he stood up. The transfer student merely gazed at him, unfazed.
おいおい、あれだけ説明したのに全然分かってなかったのか？
Hey, you're not honestly implying you still don't understand after all that, are you?
しょうがねえ。まず座れ。いいか、その字。
Oh, well, just sit down and listen, Sanoji.
常人を上回る英気と幸運を兼ね備えながら、座することなく精進してきた俺でも、ここを卒業しちまえば、裸一貫になっちまうんだぞ。
I was granted talent and luck beyond that of most people, but I always put the work in. But once I leave here, I'm one of my own. Now, do you get it?
ひでえ話だ。
I'm sick of explaining this to people.
てめえの家柄を活用できんのは、あと1年ちょいだけなんだぜ。これの一体どこが羨ましいってんだ。
My family's status will only keep me afloat for one more year. What about that could you possibly envy?
普通一生続くはずの親の七光ってやつが、俺の場合はたった3年間しかねえんだからな。
Most people can live off their privilege for their entire lives. The best I can get is 3 measly years.
となりゃ、有効なうちに使っておかなきゃ、もったいなくておちおち眠ってもいられねえ。
So, I have to take advantage of what I have. And while I have it.
ああ、嫌だ嫌だ。何が嫌かって、バカどもとガン首並べて金勘定するのが嫌だ。たく、嫉妬渦巻く大人の世界じゃ、俺のオブラートみたいな心なんてパックリ飲まれて溶けちまうこと受け合いだろうさ。
Just the thought of having to count beans like the rest of the idiots out there gets me livid. The adult world is going to kill me. The envy alone will be enough to destroy my fragile heart.
Oh.
Well, he must have been joking. Sojuro took his tone to be completely sincere. He listened as he envied Tobimaru's ability to be so open about his feelings. From his frame of reference, there was nothing he could do but take Tobimaru for his word. When
あら、そんな権利なんて留年すればいくらでも引き延ばせるのに。なんなら協力してあげましょうか。この私でよろしければ。
if you're looking to Extend your privileges. Why not stay in school? I'd be more than happy to arrange that for you. The door to the student council room flew open, washing away Sojuro's half-hearted response to his friend. His frosty statement destroyed the warm atmosphere of the room, and it also marked the abrupt end to Tobimaru's Tsukiji's reign there.
いや、いい。自分の夢は自分の力だけで叶えようと常々思ってるんだ。
No, I just meant that our dreams are something that we take hold of ourselves.
なら今みたいな恥ずかしいこと力説しないでね。廊下にまで聞こえてたわよ、副会長さん。
Really? Then why not spend more of time on that than this pathetic display? I could hear you all the way from the hallway, Mr. Vice President. Not missing a beat, Aoko Aozaki stepped inside the room. Her dark hair was slightly disheveled, as if she had been running. Her gaze missed the sitting Sojuro entirely and was focused completely on the ranting Vice President.
頑張れ、飛び丸。
Good luck, Tobimaru. Sojuro quietly got up and to head back to his classroom.
割と薄情なんだな、お前って。
That's cold, man. Tobimaru grumbled in front of Aoko.
だって時間がない。
But it's almost time for class.
だから、そういうのが薄情とだな。
You're just proving my point, He cut himself off. Aoko briefly shifted her gaze to Sojuro.
時間がないのは私も同じよ。あなたにはいつも振り回される。
It's not like I have time for this either, you know? It feels like I'm always having to clean up after you. Naka complained it was her honest opinion.
なんだ？要件は宗十郎かよ。
Wait, you're here for Sojuro?
安心なさい。あなたにもあるから。
Don't worry, I'll deal with you next.
ん？
Her eyes shimmered with a murderous glee. It was slightly different from the more sullen gaze to which Tobimaru had grown accustomed. For whatever reason, Aoko's mood seemed worse than usual.
しずきくん、あなた、走るのと泳ぐの、どっちが好き？
Shizuki, which do you prefer, running or swimming? Aoko asked abruptly. Sojuro frowned with a little before saying he was fine with either one.
ダメよ。一つにして。
That won't do. Pick one.
泳ぐ方かな。けど、どうして？
Swimming, I guess. Why do you ask?
あなたがまだどこの部にも所属してないから。
Because you still haven't joined a club. A sickened reply. One that left no room for Sojuro to object.
うちの校則読んだわよね。生徒はただ一人の例外もなく、部活動に参加しなくてはならない。
You've read the school regulations. All students must participate in club activities.
正直どうかと思う校則だけど、決まりは決まりだから。
I'm not the biggest fan of it myself, to be honest, but a rule is a rule.
そんな無茶な。悪いけど、そこまでの暇はないんだ。
That's crazy. How could I possibly find the time for that?
でしょうね。
How, indeed. An equally terse response. She was typically to the point, but Tobimaru got the impression that she was expressly trying to keep her interaction with Sojuro short. They stared at each other in silence. Tobimaru stood breathlessly silent on the sidelines until Sojuro broke the impasse.
青崎は分かってると思ってた。
I thought you of all people would understand, Aozaki.
あ、いや違う。きっと分かっているんだな。
I mean, of course you do.
うん。だから、そこが強いんだろうね。
That's what makes you strong. Sojuru stood up from her seat. He walked past Aoko and into the hallway.
それ、明日からでいいんだろ
Do you mind if I start tomorrow?
しずきくんがいいならね。
Whatever works for you, Suzuki. Suzuki. He did his best to force a smile before leaving the student council room. While watching the events play out, Tobemaru found himself deeply impressed with Sojuro. He could tell from Aoko's behavior that she was trying to get a rise out of Sojuro. Sojuro, on the other hand, didn't react heedless of what Aoko was doing. He simply went on his way. To Tobemaru, it was hard to believe that Sojuro had not taken offense. From his point of view, Sojuro's poker face has been the performance of a lifetime.
いや、でも何が強いんだろうな、会長。
That kid has some balls, huh, President? He looked at Aoko curiously. Aoko's completely still, staring at the wall.
青崎
Hey, Aozaki? Aoko showed no response.
おい、会長青崎青子女子おい聞いてんのかよ、青崎青子
Yo, President, after Aozaki, come in. Come in. Lady Aoko? I'm talking to you, Aoko Aozaki.
さいはね、青々を呼ぶな。
Enough of a ow ow. How did he go? The fury echoed across the student council room. It was a beautiful sound that could be heard into the hallway and made Tobemaru's rant from earlier pale in comparison.
やかましい、うるせえのはてめえも同じだ
Look who's talking, Miss Megaphone. Perhaps her shouting was still ringing in his ears, or he was just a type to answer and shout with a shout. But he shot back reflexively.
そんなんだから男の一人もできねえんだよ、お前はほら、目覚めたか
No wonder you can't get a boyfriend. Do I have your attention now?
別にあなたの声は聞こえてた。煩わしかったから無視してただけよ。黙らせるの面倒だし。
I could hear you before. I was just ignoring you because you were annoying to me. And I thought it'd be easier than getting you to shut up.
てめえな、俺はカカなんかか、おい
You've got some nerve. Am I a mosquito to you?
コミュニケーションが成立しない点で言えば、あっちのがまだ上品よね。
A mosquito would offer better company, so no.
ほう、その心は
And what exactly is that supposed to mean?
お互い何を言ってるかわからない。意味のない会話なら、仰せみたいなものでしょ。
We never see eye to eye. Talking to you is like going on a date, both pointless activities. Based on that statement, Aoko must have been under the assumption that dating was the act of two lovers whispering nonsense to each other.
問題はお前にとって意味のある会話ってのがどの程度の価値かってことだが、まあいいか。
The real question is, what the hell qualifies as company to you? But whatever.
いつになくきついじゃねえか、青崎。
You're awfully harsh today, Aozaki.
ちょっとね。今愛嬌振りまける状況じゃないのよ。
Maybe a little. This isn't exactly the time to make nice.
不思議だ。この2年間で青崎の愛嬌なんてものは見たことがないんだが。
Funny you mention that. I haven't seen you try to be civil at all in the last 2 years.
飛び丸のいない時に振りまいてたの。
Oh, I am civil. Was just when you're in the same room.
そうかよ。やっぱり あの時のこと恨んでるんだろ。生徒会長さんはよ。
So that's how it is. You're still upset with me from what happened, aren't you? There was only one thing that Tobimaro could be talking about. The incident that occurred in the student council room this past summer.
え、ずいぶんと昔の話じゃないそれ。
Huh? Isn't that ancient history at this point?
そんなどうでもいいことに容量を使っちゃもったいないわよ。ただでさえ脳の覚醒部分が少ないのに。
Don't you think you should stop wasting your brain power on this? I mean, you've got so few brain cells to work with as it is. As the conversation wore on, Aoko's murderous hour began to fade, and her sharp gaze gave way to a calmer demeanor, rarely seen from her. It was quite possible that nobody besides Tobimaro had ever seen this side of her at school before.
ご忠告どうも。俺だってあんなことは忘れてよ。
Thanks for the concern, Psych. And for the record, it's not like I want to relive it either.
ただ、さっきその字がバカなこと言いやがるから、つい思い出しちまったんだよ。くそ、考えてみりゃ場所まで一緒じゃねえか。
It's just, when Tsunoji was being an idiot earlier, it kind of reminded me of how it went down. Come to think of it, it was the room it happened in. Despite his ranting, his face betrayed a touch of nostalgia. Aoko, on the other hand, was scowling.
ちょっと待って。
Hold on.
あの話、彼にしたの？
You didn't tell him about what happened, did you?
おう、俺がてめえに、なんで会長になんか立候補したのよ。あんたは副会長って顔でしょ、どう見ても。なんて挑発されて、生涯最高の月をしたところまでな。
Sure did, at least. How you mocked my candidacy for president and told me to my face had sidekick written all over it. And the part where I took the bait and tried my damnedest to punch you for it. Ako let out a sigh, as if relieved that Tobimaro had not told Sojiro the rest of the story. Even she wasn't sure why.
あれは確かにびっくりするぐらいいい月だった。思わず体が反応しちゃったものね。
I'll admit, that was quite a punch though. It was enough to make me react on
ところ
reflex.
で、私そんなこと言ったっけ？
Did I really say that, by the way?
言った。しかも俺が保健室に運ばれたのをこれ幸いと強引に副会長にしやがった。
You sure did. And not only that, after I was taken to an infirmary, you had the balls to tell me you did me a favor by forcing me to be your number two. Since that day, Tobimaro had served as the vice president to this person who'd usurped the role for him.
いいけどな。俺に会長職は合わねえって分かったし、副会長の方が性に合ってやがる。会長なんてやってたら、危うく親父みたいな野郎になってただろうしよ。
It's fine though. The president's share doesn't suit me anyway. I feel much more at home as the vice president. Your job would have probably turned me into my dad.
プライド高い分、できることは全部やるからね、飛び丸は。
Your prides never allowed you to give anything less than your best.
会長職に先進するあまり、気がついたら優等生になってたあんたも見たかったけど。
You might be a little too comfortable on the student council though. Makes me wonder how you would have looked as an honor student.
やめてくれ、ゾッとしねえ。
Don't even go there. Even thinking about it gives me the creeps.
猫かぶるのはお前だけで十分だ。
Having one wolf in sheep's clothing around here is bad enough. Tobimaro shooed Aoko away like an annoying pest. It was a typical example of a of accrued verbal abuse they exchange on their daily basis, with a wittiness that only two longtime foes could manage.
で、なんでそんな話したのよ。
So, why did you tell him?
は
Tell who or what?
半年前のここの事件をなんで彼に話したのよ。
Why did you tell him what happened between you and me?
ああ、そっちか。いや、あいつがバカなこと口走ったからなんだが。
Oh, that. I was just trying to put a stop to the nonsense he was spewing and... he stopped himself before he said any more. He knew better than to let slip the fact that Sojiro had a thing for Aoko. Everyone knew guys didn't tell each other out like that. Even if it was all in truth, a misunderstanding.
それより、さっきのはないんじゃねえのか、青崎。
Anyway, what the hell was that before Aozaki?
お前、宗十郎に恨みでもあんの？
That's some grudge you got against Sojiro.
7日以上前の恨みを引きずるほど私はお姫様じゃないつもりだけど。
I'm not some princess who goes around holding grudges for something that happened over a week ago, you know? He wanted to retort that she was more like a queen than a princess. But he could... he come to know her too well over the past 2 years to dig himself into a hole like that.
恨みはないね。それにしちゃ、恋に喧嘩売ってただろ。なんでだ？
Okay, so why did you pick a fight with him?
確かに調子の狂うやつだが、あいつほどいいやつはいねえだろうに。
I mean, he does throw you off when you talk to him, but there's not an evil bone in his body.
おい待て。なんだその足元のシロアリを見るかのような態度は。
Wow, why are you looking at me like you just stepped into a turd?
別にあんたまでそのセリフを言うのかって心底から見避け果てただけよ。
Oh, no big reason. Hearing you say that, I was just thinking that I have never met such a despicable person in my life.
まあいっか。いいやつ、いい人、結構じゃない？喧嘩を売る相手としちゃ上等だわ。誰も憎んであげないなら、私ぐらいそうしないとね。
Well, whatever. So he's a good guy. That makes him the perfect person to pick a fight with, if nobody else will do it. The job falls to me, right? She said casually, having regained her composure.
しないとねって、お前。
You just can't help yourself, huh? Tobimaru could not follow her reasoning at all. Tobimaru was used to Aoko's erratic trains of thoughts, but hating Sojiro for no reason seemed needlessly cruel. His friend's naive and innocent face came to mind, and then he blurted,
けど、宗十郎は青崎が好きなんだぜ。それでも嫌いなのか？
Oh god. But Sojiro's taking a shine to you, Aozaki. How can you hate him for knowing that? Hate him knowing that? His vow of silence had lasted not even 2 minutes.
いや、今のはな、青崎。
What I meant was... He tried to take it back, but it was too late. She had heard his words loud and clear. All he could hope for now was that she would take it well.
そりゃそうでしょ。好き嫌いは誰にもあるし。
Because I like what I like and dislike what I don't like.
けどこればかりはね。彼が私と仲良くしたいって言っても、私は嫌いなんだから仕方ない。
Just because he wants to be friends doesn't mean I have to suddenly like him. Stone cold Aoko. Tobimaru found himself filled with indignation at how detached Aoko was being.
いや、そんなお友達感覚の話じゃなくてだな。
Don't you get it? This isn't just about friendship.
そういう好き嫌いじゃなくて、その字は本気でお前に惚れてるって言ったんだよ。
And it didn't mean he only likes you, Iva. Believe me when I say that Sonoji really has a thing for you. He shouted his he shouted his face, the embodiment of sincerity. Aoko gave him a blank stare. It was the face of someone who had lost their wallet hours earlier and was only just realizing it now. The first instant of doubt that ushers in her realization of the situation. The reality of the situation. What an instant all it was.
De?
So what? She answered coolly, as if she had no idea why it should matter to her at all.
でときたか。鬼でもなけりゃ悪魔だな。お前って女は。よかろう。聞こえなかったのならもう一度言ってやる。
So what? You were born in hell? I assume you didn't hear me and I say it again. Sojuro. Tobimaru gave up any pretense of masculine solidarity and fired back hard.
いいわよ、そんなの。つまらないもの。
Don't bother, I couldn't care less. She ruthlessly cut him off. Thinking of a boy who still harbored unrequited love for Aoko, Tobimaru tried hard to come up with a name befitting the demoness in front of him.
なるほどね。それでさっきの話に結びつくわけだ。
Now I see. So that's why you told him about our little incident.
へえ。柄にもなく友達思いじゃない殿下。
Who could have thought His Highness could be so considerate to his friends?
ってことは、聞くも無残、語るも無情っていう私の噂話、教えてあげたんでしょ？
I bet you also told him all the nasty rumors floating about me, too, huh? She laughed as a fiendish smile adorned her face. Tobimaru repented to God, whoever and wherever he or she might be, forever bringing up Aoko's love life.
飛び丸にしちゃ正しい判断ね。褒めてあげるから、どんな話をしたのか聞きたいな、私。
You did the right thing, Tobimaru. Now, be a good little vice president and tell me every single thing you told him. She was smiling, but Tobimaru wished she'd at least try to hide the bloodlust.
代表作とここでの事件を2つばかり。
Just two things, really. The story you're most infamous for, and what happened in this room. Aoko nodded with satisfaction as she listened to Tobimaru's hesitant answer.
こういう時、噂話って便利よね。うるさいのを追っ払ってくれるから。でも、そんな話を考えなしで広めたら大変だから、これからは気をつけてね。
Rumors like those can come in handy sometimes. You can use them to chase off any annoying people. Just be careful about who you tell, okay? Had this been in writing, the chillingly sweet tone of her words could have been signed with a heart. Whether angry or happy, Aozaki spoke in a disturbingly cute manner when she was in a heightened emotional state. Tobimaru took note of his new discovery, aware that it did nothing to get him out of the situation.
ああ、俺も命は惜しいからな。口はもう滑らねえよ。
Don't worry, I value my life, so I shut my mouth.
けどよ、青崎。本気で宗十郎が嫌いなのか？
But Aozaki, you really hate Sojuro that much? He knew that it was a topic he could be better off avoiding, But he tried asking anyway. Bonds between men at times shine more beautifully than a pearl.
まあ好きじゃないから嫌いっていうわけじゃないけど、私が彼のことを嫌う理由は自分でもわからない。
Well, I might not like him. But that doesn't mean I hate him. I'm not even sure why I feel the way I do.
だからダメなのね、きっと。
Which is probably the problem. Perhaps to placate Tobimaro, Aoko paused in contemplation before she answered. Giving it a moment without immediately blurting out a response meant not even he could complain.
そうか。ま、そういうことならしょうがねえか。
I guess that makes sense.
何しろ、綺麗さっぱり感情論だ。お互い理由もなく好きと嫌いじゃ、手を貸す隙間もねえわけだし。
As much as emotional arguments can make sense, there's nothing I can do to if neither of you understand why you feel the way you do. Thinking that would be the end of it, Torimaru looked up towards the ceiling and silently apologized to Sojuro. However, his final sentence appeared to have piqued Aoko's interest.
待って。今の、どういう意味？
Wait, what do you mean by that? The fog sheer had vanished. Failing to pick up on this, Tobimaru answered nonchalantly.
いや、あいつもさ、青崎に惚れた理由がわからないなんて言いやがってよ。ああ、違ったか。理由なんてないなんて意味だったかな。
Oh, nothing. It's just that Sojuro also said he wasn't exactly sure why he liked you. Or more like, there was no particular reason for how he felt, I think. Tobimaru was still in disbelief that Sojuro had been charmed by Aoko's appearance, so he purposely left that part out.
理由はないですって。
He said he likes me for no reason?
ああ、なんで。俺がいくらお前の噂話をしても無駄だった。天津さえなんて言ってたかな。あ、そうそう。理由はどうあれ、青崎の心配は本物なんだとか、自分はそれで助かってるとか、俺なんかには言えないセリフだったのは確かだね。どうにも。
Yeah, I mean, even I told him about all the rumors about you, and it has had no effect on him whatsoever. What did he say again? Oh, right. He was going on about how genuine your concern for him was, and how it really helped him. It's almost too mushy for me to repeat out loud.
はっきりしてんのは、他の野郎どもと違って、噂を聞いても手を引く素振りなんざみじんもなかったってことだけ。
All I can say is that, unlike the other boys, the rumors didn't faze him in the least. Tobimaru finally noticed a shift in Aoko's demeanor. She was scowling at the wall. She glared at it in silence like it was her worst enemy, and this continued for several minutes.
何それ？さっきといいそれといい、どこかで聞いたようなことばっかり。
What the hell is that? I can't shake the feeling that I've heard all of this before somewhere. So great was her ire that the gnashing of her teeth was audible. The irritation seethed until it reached the point that Aoko forgot Tobimaru was even in the room. Tobimaru looked heavenward for forgiveness, sensing that he'd brought further calamity down upon Sojuro's head.
少しわかったわ。なんであいつが気に食わないのか。
I kind of get it now. I think I know why I don't like him. Tobimaru looked away, as if to indicate that he'd rather not know, but Aoko ignored him and began to grumble venomously.
あいつ、私が嫌いなやつと言動が似てるのよ。
The way he acts and talks reminds me of someone I despise.
誰彼構わずいい人扱いされるところとか、妙にふわふわしてるところとか、いちいち私の勘に触るところとか。
Like how everyone thinks he's an angel and how nothing seems to bother him. Maybe it's how good he is at getting on my nerves. Glancing idly up at the clock, Tobimaro thought that last part just sounded like misplaced anger. And that was that. 1 o'clock had come and gone.
わかった。もういい。この話をした俺が悪かった。
Fine. So, I get it. Sorry, I said anything.
で、俺に用ってのはなんだよ。言っとくけど、もう授業始まってるぜ。
So, did you need me for anything? Class has already started, you know.
え？授業ってなんで？いつ？
What do you mean by class? When did it...
いや、さっきその字が出てってから、青崎がギラーンって壁に睨んでた時にチャイムが鳴ったんだよ。いいのか、生徒会長。5次元目ばっくれて。
The bell rang right after Sonoji left, around the time you were busy being pissed off at that wall. Tell me, Miss President, are you allowed to miss 5th period?
いいわけないでしょ！なんで黙ってんのよ、あんたは！
Of course I'm not. Why didn't you say something? She looked like she was on the verge of tears, and she shouted and pulled at his necktie. Nobimaru raised his hands in mock surrender, a gesture reversed only for the true victor.
蚊の方がエレガントなんて言いやがった仕返しだ。思い知るがいい。男の純情を踏みにじったり焼き殺したりするエリート悪魔め。
Consider this revenge for saying I was worse than a mosquito. Hopefully you have learned your lesson, O hellish demon, who feast upon hearts of men.
相変わらず細かく根に持つ男。言動には言動で返しなさいよね、卑怯者！
You're so petty, you know that? You're supposed to repay insults with insults, you coward! She tightened his necktie around his neck with a yank. The vice president smiled, a thuggish grin, as if her reaction made his victory that much sweeter.
お前の古典が破滅に向かっているのは周知の事実。そして A 組の5次元目は言うまでもない。藤代のばあさん。青崎のこと嫌ってるしな。
It's not no secret you're heading to remedial classics, and I don't have to tell you who teaches Class A during 5th period. Old Bets Fujishiro is going to have your head. Fujishiro had one of the longest tenures at the school, so it was only natural she would be in charge of teaching the classics.
さあ、こんなところで俺のネクタイを引っ張る余裕があるのなら、急いで自分の教室に立ち返るがいい。
This is where you stop yanking on my tie and haul ass to your classroom.
情けだ。別に止めはしねえよ。
I won't even try to stop you. Am I not merciful?
くそ、あんたなんかにはめられるなんて！このまま死んでしまえ！
Damn it. Oh, I can't believe you of all people pulled one over me. Just die already. She choked him even harder with his necktie. As Aoko put words into action and mercilessly startled Tobimaru, he saw his life flash before his eyes.
いや、待て待て、本当に死んじまうだろうが。今ならまだ間に合う。10分過ぎたら遅刻から欠席扱いだぞ。
Wait, stop. I'm gonna die. This isn't too late. Do you want them to mark you as absent? Aoko glanced up at the clock. It was still only 1:07. Her route was from the student council room on the second floor to the Class A classroom on the third floor. If she ran, she could make it.
命拾ったわね、飛び丸。
I let you live, Tobimaru. This time. Aoko clicked her tongue disappointedly. What disturbed Tobimaru was that it didn't sound like an empty threat.
あと放課後、ここにいて。頼みたいことがあるのは本当なんだから。
Be here after school. I actually have something to do. I need you to do. She was halfway out of the room before she even finished her sentence. Finally all alone, Tobimaru closed the open door, locked it, and slapped into the chair.
たく。ああしてる分には楽しいやつなんだけどよ、青崎は。
Never a dull moment with Aozaki around, that's for sure. He leaned back in the creaky folding chair and let out a sigh. The weather outside was beautiful, but the sunlight waned early in the winter. Before long, daylight would fade, and the unheated student council room would grow colder and colder. All of the good equipment, like the heater, had ended up in the main office, so he had no choice but to settle in for a chilly afternoon.
こんな天気が続けばいいんだがね。天気予報じゃ、また雲行き怪しいって話だが。
If only this weather would last. Maybe the forecast predicted more clouds. After a somewhat suggestive monologue, Tobimaru's mind drifted. He idly wondered to himself whether Sojuro was an overcast day or a clear day sort of guy, but no answer came. So, it's almost an hour, and this marks the end of the third episode. I hope you had fun, and I will see you in the next episode. So, until then, it's been me, Shokimo. I see you in the next one. Bye bye.